Check. 1, 2, 3.
The D. Brief. This is the D Brief.
Your guide to Detroit.
Your guide to Detroit's arts
and entertainment scene.
This is the D
Brief.
Hello and welcome to Detroit's podcast for concerts, comedy, plays, food, drink, and more. It is Thursday, September 5th, 2019. I'm your co-host. My name is Seth Ressler.
And I'm Becky Scarcello.
If you've never listened to the podcast before, I am the guy who knows nothing about Detroit.
And I am the native.
Yes, you are.
That tries to tell you everything about Detroit.
And I don't listen.
No.
Because I'm stubborn like that. Here's what's on today's show. We have Amani Olu. This is the guy, he's one of the co-organizers of Detroit Art Week, happened back in July. This guy he's not even been here in Detroit that long, really. But this dude has tapped into the local scene. So we're going to talk to him about some of the things that are going on in the art scene, find out what he's excited about.
I'm going to tell you about some new openings there at the Siren Hotel.
And don't forget, on Friday's episode, we have Adriel Thornton. He is the organizer, one of the organizers of Dally in the Alley, this big event that's it's been happening for over 4 decades at this point.
Yes, over 40 years.
Yeah. So he's going to give us the inside scoop on all of that. A couple of things. If you're not on our email list, you're going to want to join. All you have to do is go to our website, thedebriefdetroit.com, and while you're there, sign up. In addition to just telling you what's going on every week, we are also going to invite a handful of listeners to come grab a beer with us, grab a glass of wine with us. We would love to have you sit down and just chat.
Yeah, we'll buy you a drink. We want to know what you like, what you don't. Yeah. Feedback.
So that invite will go out to the email list soon. Also want to let you know about Michigan Podcast Productions. We are producing podcasts for local arts and entertainment organizations. If you've ever listened to a podcast and said to yourself, I should be doing that.
You should.
That should be me on the microphone. We can make that happen. All right, let's get into the show and meet today's guest co-host.
Welcome to the D.
Brief.
Returning for day number 2, it is the woman behind the Hungry in Detroit Instagram account. These photos are amazing.
Oh, yeah.
I mean...
Do you take those all yourself?
I do.
Really good.
Yeah. Speaking of people who are not native and have tapped into the local scene, Shanley Pearl of Hungry in Detroit, you've come from Chicago recently.
Yep. Well, 5 years ago.
5 years? I mean, that's... Still, I mean...
You came at a very cool time to be into new restaurants.
I know, and I didn't even know it either. So my boyfriend at the time lived in Ann Arbor, and we were just like looking for a place to live, and then I ended up getting a job with the Detroit Red Wings.
Okay.
And so we came to Detroit, and I was like, oh my gosh, the city's blowing up. I was meant to be here.
So what is the difference between living in Chicago and living in Detroit?
The people. The people in Detroit are amazing, not like the people in Chicago. I mean, some people in Chicago are great, but people are artistic, they're eclectic, they're entrepreneurs in Detroit. There's like a lot of artists, just a lot of people like working towards their goals. In Chicago, it's like, I'm a sales guy. I work in tech, like that kind of thing. So it's much more my speed. I actually have a love affair with the city. I love it.
Nice.
It's the best thing that's ever happened to me.
How do the restaurant scenes compare?
I mean, that's tough because now I go back to Chicago and I'm like, this is like Las Vegas, Right. It's like so big and ever changing. I think Detroit is a little bit slower of a come up. Like Chicago's definitely already arrived. But I just like love being a part of it. Like, being in Detroit, you actually get to know the chefs. Like that would never happen in Chicago. So I think something really cool is happening in Detroit right now.
So a little more authenticity, and then you get 100%. To feel like you're a little bit more part of what's happening.
Yeah, you're a part of this come up.
I feel that
culinary and art come up, and it's really special.
Yeah.
Well, people should definitely follow you on Instagram. It's Hungry in Detroit.
It is.
And the photos are amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Have there been some like 1 or 2 highlights recently of new places you've tried?
I feel like it's gotten a bad rap, but Monarch Club has an amazing view. Have you guys been up there?
Oh my gosh.
Why has it gotten a bad rap?
How so?
Well, I know a lot of people in the industry that have like worked there, that no longer work there. And I actually posted about it on my Instagram the other day, and a couple of followers commented and were like, the service is terrible. We felt unwelcome.
I have heard a little bit of that unwelcome, like people turned away or...
You know what? Yeah. I think they opened at the beginning of the summer. It only fits 60 people up there. Like, everyone wanted to go. And so, like, that wait was... I went there, it was a 4-hour wait one Friday.
Right.
Like, there were people sitting in the lobby of the hotel just, like, waiting to get in. So I don't think they were prepped for the amount of...
The demand.
Yeah.
I have to imagine, given the layout of that place, too, that even just as a wait staff, that's tricky to... Because there's these 4 little sections that are like...
And then there's a secret room upstairs.
Yeah.
So I think it's like one of the coolest places. We don't really have like rooftop bars.
Well, that's
yet
the thing.
in
It's so
Detroit.
long overdue, and we've only had a few. And so, it was just hotly anticipated. It's almost like you couldn't possibly do it amazing, because how can you plan for all that? And when you're the person up there, you don't want to be overcrowded either. But when you're the person waiting, it's like, oh, why can't I get in? So.
I didn't have a problem getting in. I got it. I'm trying to think. We might have done it on a weeknight.
There's definitely tips to go at less.
Doesn't help that summer's like 3 weeks long here. So
yeah,
Cool.
But interesting.
Well, good. Well, hang out. Enjoy the show. We're glad to have you back.
Thanks.
I would like to say to the people of Detroit,
I can feel the difference.
Come down to Detroit.
The Detroit Institute of Arts.
The Detroit Zoo.
The Michigan Science Center.
Detroit Cocktail Classic.
The Arab American National Museum.
The Little Caesars Arena.
The Henry Ford.
Eastern Market.
The Cure Wine.
The Detroit Derby Girls.
Motor City Brew Tours.
I think everybody can feel it.
It's a comeback story that everybody's been rooting for.
Detroit is moving.
And you're listening to The Debrief.
And you are listening to The Debrief.
The Debrief. Debrief.
The Debrief.
All right, Becky, let's talk about the world of food and drink. What's going on?
So, Shanley, I'm glad you're here for this. So, weigh in
super
heavily. So, just a couple of stories I have. There's a Create Your Own Olga contest going on. So, this is Olga's Kitchen, kind of a mini chain that we got that was started in Birmingham in 1970 by a woman named Olga. So, you can develop your own recipe for one of their sandwiches, and the winning one will actually be featured on the menu starting next year. So from now through September 30th, you can submit your recipe online, olgas.com, or through their Facebook page, and you'll actually get to work with Olga's Kitchen executive chef to, perfect it and bring it to life to put on the menu. So.
I'm going to make a confession. I don't actually have any sandwich recipes.
Well, what's your favorite?
It's not like I have this sandwich recipe was passed down by my great-great-grandmother.
I don't think really sandwiches are like that. But if you could dream up like a perfect sandwich, what would you?
There's peanut butter and there's jelly.
How much?
Put them together.
What kind of bread and what type of jam?
I don't know. What would your sandwich be?
I think I have 2 sandwiches. One is vegan and one is a cheeseburger.
Oh, okay.
So the vegan BLT from Folk is absolutely amazing.
I gotta try that.
Wait, I don't think you
Super
can
good.
steal a recipe from another restaurant and
I know.
submit it to Olga.
I know, sorry.
Okay,
Olga.
well,
It's probably frowned upon.
Talk about your favorite recent sandwiches, and then let's talk about what you would like to see.
Okay. Vegan BLT from Folk,
Yep.
amazing. Grey Ghost Burger will forever and always have a special little part in my heart. So those are my 2
They won
sandwiches.
awards for that burger, I'm sure, somewhere.
They should have.
Yeah,
They
I think they
haven't.
did. I think they did. I think they told us about it. Anyway, they get an
That,
award.
ladies and gentlemen, is why we're not journalists.
Yes, I think something about that. No, seriously.
I
there's some
heard. I
burger
saw it on
wars.
Instagram. It's got to be true.
It's good. But what if you could, for Olga? So, okay, let me tell you about some of the Olgas they already have, right?
Okay.
So their original is like the seasoned beef and lamb with the tomato, the sweet onion, the Olga sauce. And the whole thing is this kind of slightly sweet pita bread, this, Olga's famous pita bread. But they have other things like veggie one. I used to work at Olga's.
So you'll know.
amazing.
Many, many moons ago in the Fairlane Mall. And I used to get the Asian veggie one. That's what I would make every day for myself. But there's turkey, there's ham and cheese, there's chicken shawarma, Mediterranean. They have
Do they have a fried egg
steak
sandwich?
one. I don't think they have fried egg.
That's what they need.
They have a
Do
barbecue.
they have falafel?
I don't think they do. So maybe falafel.
I'm telling you, an
maybe
egg, over easy, caramelized onions, house-made ketchup, sourdough, maybe like some
Well, you wouldn't
bacon
take.
in
You
there.
got to use the pita bread.
Why? Oh, yeah,
That's
that's probably
the
smart.
hallmark,
That is
yeah.
probably smart. Yeah. Well, and it'll catch all
Throw
the
some
yolk when
Olga
it
sauce
runs.
on there.
There you go.
That actually sounds really.
I'm gonna enter.
You do go to
I'm
Olga's
hungry
store.
from that. Yeah.
I would do something with bacon. I would do like maybe a blat, a BLAT with some avocado or something, and the Olga sauce, and
I'm trying to figure out what all the.
What is the Olga sauce?
Yeah.
it's kind of like a tzatziki kind of Greek white yogurty sauce. Yeah.
I'm in for that.
Yeah. So, anyways, and rest in peace to Olga herself, who died earlier this year at age 92. But kind of a cool thing. Founders Brewing Company. Let's switch over to beer. So we love our founders. They're selling a majority stake in their company to their Spanish partner. Okay. So this is Mahu San Miguel. They previously have owned 30% of Founders. Now they're going to own 90%. So this is Michigan's largest brewery. Founders is actually the 14th largest brewery in the whole country. So the guys who founded it, they'll each keep just 5%. And they say nothing's going to change. But we all know something's going to change, right? So,
Well, you got to do mass production. You have to make more.
yes. So they say, though, they're going to be autonomous. They're going to do the founders stuff. Their roles, their management in the business is all going to be the same. They recently became the first Michigan brewery to have presence in all 50 states, to distribute in all 50 states. And they were only able to do that by having this partnership of an international brewer. So on the one hand, this type of growth would have been impossible because of the distribution laws and all that kind of thing, and the money that you need. But the question is this still a craft brewery? Is it still artisan? Is it still, what's the pros and cons?
I mean, I guess if they're not changing how it's made,
That's
then
what they
it's
say.
technically still a craft brewery. But we know from experience when other breweries have blown up. I think of like Goose Island in Chicago, for instance. They said all of the same stuff, and the quality ended up changing. So quality control is key in this instance.
I get why everybody's freaking out, but at the same time,
You want it to be successful.
yeah, I mean,
It's like good for them, you know?
it is
Yeah.
good for them. Like we want Michigan companies to do well, but only so well.
Right.
See, that's what I know. So I can't fault them.
you know what I mean?
Right?
Like,
No, I think
damn it, when Ford started selling cars overseas, damn it. That was really the beginning of the end for that
Well,
company.
I think that's
They really
a whole
sold out.
different mindset
I know.
than a craft beer. But yeah, so do you still define it as an American
but what does that
company?
mean? Can beer no longer be craft when it's popular?
Well, I guess the definition, there is an actual definition, okay, by the Brewers Association. So a craft brewery has to be one that's defined by producing less than 6 million barrels per year and be less than 25% owned by a company that itself is not defined as a craft brewer. So you have to be either owned by a craft brewer or produce less than 6 million barrels a year. So Founders only produced 563,000 barrels last year.
So they're not even close.
So not even close to that. But now with being a part of this larger company that brews internationally and sells all over the world, they will. And now the company that owns them is obviously
But that just sounds
not
like
a craft
popular,
brewer.
but not that popular. Is
I
what
know.
it sounds like.
So I don't have a problem. I'm like, you know what? If it's still the Founders we know and love,
It's
like that's cool.
I like Nine Inch Nails before my little sister started wearing the T-shirt. Is what that sounds like.
Exactly.
You know?
Yeah.
And look, there are
the idea that mass production is somehow not
there
cool
are
anymore.
big brewers whose beer I like. Guinness. I completely respect Guinness. You know, and,
Yeah,
and I
they're
love
huge.
what
Well,
they
who
do.
doesn't?
And I'm a
Yeah.
fan. Have you been?
No.
Oh, you got to go to the.
No.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah,
The
I
brewery in
imagine
Dublin.
so.
Oh,
I'm Irish too, so I don't know why I haven't been.
it's amazing. That's what the Founders should do. Founders should, basically build a brewery that's like a playland for adults.
Well, and maybe they will now.
I have been to Heineken in Amsterdam though.
Oh, I haven't been there. Is that cool?
Very cool.
See?
Yeah. So I don't know. Good for Founders.
We'll
see.
I think
I
so
think the
too.
pros outweigh the cons.
I do too.
I think so too. I think if you're making a good product, we should root for you. I think we should want every international company to be based in Michigan.
Yes. I agree. So some openings. So, you got the Siren Hotel there in the Wurlitzer building, and they've been slowly kind of adding things. They have a candy bar in there. Now Carl's Diner just opened. I think it was last Thursday. It's on the second floor of the hotel, and that's the latest project from Kate Williams of Lady of the House. So all-day menu, breakfast, lunch, dinner, kind of those diner classic sandwiches and pancakes and things like that, executed in a more upscale way. And it's nostalgic for her. Her great-great-grandparents owned a bakery on Detroit's East Side. So this is kind of in honor of them. It was named Carl's. So she's certainly emphasizing the baked goods. She's going to have cheesecake, rotating pies of the day, some German rolls. Like, it sounds fantastic.
See, her great-great-grandparents probably had a sandwich recipe that they've handed down to the family.
Yeah.
That Parisian ham, though.
So she has, at Lady of the House, has this crazy Parisian ham. And like in that later night menu, she did this ham sandwich, and it just is gangbusters. Everybody's talking about it. So there's Maddie's ham sandwich will be over at Carl's, this Parisian ham with butter, yellow mustard, and pickles on it.
Do you think Kate Williams is allowed to enter the Olga's contest?
I think anyone can.
Yeah.
Just hop on the internet and enter
She would probably win.
Yeah.
Put her certificate right next to the James
She'd
Beard
probably
Award.
win over your egg concoction.
That ham sandwich is super good.
Did you have it?
I did.
Have you been here?
Yes, I had it. I went on Friday afternoon. It's so good. Cheese curds. It has like elephant ear coating, so it's like sweet coating around the cheese, and then this like sweet and sour sauce to dip it in. Super delicious
That
and kind of
sounds good.
different, What else did we have there? I can't remember. Oh, they have a lager that was actually made by Shorts, and you can like order pictures of it, and then they it's like a pills. They sell it for like $2 a can or something.
That sounds
so you
good.
can get a really cheap like light beer there, which is
nice.
Also kind of nice.
Yeah, to pair with your ham sandwich. It
yeah,
sounds
and it
perfect.
actually goes really good together.
Oh, can't wait to try it.
Yeah.
Okay. So also in the Siren Hotel, the record store, Paramita Sound. So they used to be in West Village. They're relocating to downtown Detroit, and they'll be in the Siren Hotel. And they had some problems over there in West Village. Cool place, but it was in an old house, and they got like noise complaints. And I think, their sales just weren't what they had hoped from the records. But they used to have monthly music events that were really cool. It's the really cool guys who own it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So good for them. They're kind of redoing their business model. They're adding a wine bar. So hopefully with adding drinks, they'll have more revenue and more sustainability. So it's going to be a 650 square foot space. So they'll have room for DJs. They'll, of course, be selling records, and a 15-seat bar serving a bunch of wines and a couple of beers. And a rooftop bar is still going to be coming to the Siren. I don't think they have a name yet or timeline exactly, but it's really coming together over there. So with the addition of Carl's and Paramita, there's also Sid Gold's Request Room. That's the live piano karaoke bar. There's a barbershop in there called Social Club Grooming. Candy Bar, Kate Williams' other little spot, is in there. Populous Coffee. And then, of course, that 8-seat tasting Albina, which is just off the charts good. So very cool.
Have you been?
Yes.
I've not been.
I went for amazing anniversary dinner with my husband last fall, and we just loved every single bite and every single sip. And to sit there and have the chef, it's only the chef and his partner and one other person, and so it's like going to their house, and
So cool.
Incredibly inventive. Loved it. So great little spot.
This is the
Breathe.
Shanley, here's how it works. From time to time, we have somebody call into the podcast who is an expert in something that really Becky and I aren't. And so we have one of our past guests calling in. It's Amani Olu, who is the co-founder of Detroit Art Week, just happened back in July, the second annual. He's also the founder of Olu and Company, which is an arts PR and marketing firm here in Detroit. Amani, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
So how did it go? I know this was the second week or the second year for Art Week. How was it?
Yeah.
It was pretty amazing. I mean, it was super overwhelmed, a lot of excitement, a lot of participation from the city, I think, in terms of numbers. We had over 150 participants throughout all of Detroit, east side, west side, downtown, all over the place participated. We had 36 new exhibitions debut. We had new panel discussions. We had studio visits by artists, performances. I mean, I think that a lot of people were really overwhelmed with the amount of things to do and found it hard to keep track. But also there was just a lot of excitement, in the air. It was really amazing. We're looking forward to next year.
Yeah, that's what we call a good problem to have.
That is a great problem.
There. I mean, this was a lot of growth year to year, right?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, the first year was very much an experiment. We just wanted to figure out, can we make this Art Week happen? And once we were able to prove our initial concept that there was interest in contemporary art in Detroit, I mean, we always knew that, but in terms of bringing galleries together to show at the same time, we just took that and we really expanded it. And we invited people to submit exhibition proposals, performances, studio visits, artist talks, panel discussions, collection visits, just a whole litany of different types of events. And in the end, you just ended up with, I don't know, sometimes I felt like it was 40 or 50 events in a day. It was kind of insane. So we're doing it next year, and we don't plan to scale back at all.
Wow. Yeah. I'll tell you what, one of my favorite things was the opening of that Hygienic Dress League exhibit at the Bagley Central. Yeah. That was so impactful, the lighting in there. So you go into Bagley Central, and then there's a secret door in the back of the bar, and you enter that, and there were these real futuristic lit sculptures, like women with these gas masks on, covered in like mirrored sequin, like disco ball women with gas masks. That it was really, really cool, the whole thing.
And that's the super cool thing about Art Week, is that you could have that kind of experiential experience, but you could also see art in an artist studio, or you can hear artists talking about art, or you can go to a traditional gallery or museum, or you could go to a party. I mean, it's really kind of a space for anyone who wants to produce an art-related exhibition. So I'm glad to hear that you enjoyed that.
Oh, it was just a great mix of things. Yeah, that was just one of the highlights. Yeah.
So I know it's early to be thinking about year number 3, but for artists who are interested in getting involved, what should they be looking out for?
The best thing to do is to either follow us at Detroit Art Week on Instagram, or go to our website, DetroitArtWeek.org, and join our mailing list, because we're actually going to start sending emails about sort of recapping last year, what the dates are for 2020. So now's the time to just join the mailing list, follow us on Instagram, and you'll get all the information in the coming weeks.
Well, what else is going on around town right now? Is there anything that's exciting you in the art scene?
So this Friday, there's a really cool exhibition happening. One of my favorite galleries is the Simone de Souza Gallery, which is located in Midtown, over on by Cass Avenue. I mean, this exhibition that she's showing, it's a solo show by an Indian artist named Neha Vedpathak. And I mean, she's just amazing. She has this really interesting, rigorous, and inventive process-based practice. So a lot of her work is made of Japanese handmade paper, acrylic paint, and thread. And they're these really large scale, I don't know if you could really call them paintings. I'll just say pieces that she makes that are sort of dealing with her experience growing up in India. She lives and she works in Detroit now, but I'm really excited to see this exhibition. This is her first solo exhibition in Detroit, and that's again at Simone de Souza Gallery over in Midtown, and the artist is Neha Vedpathak. So I would definitely check that out.
Cool.
I'm telling you right now, if you ever want to expand beyond food Instagramming, this is the guy to know because he knows where all the cool art exhibits are.
I'm into it.
So, hey, I know that one of the things that's happening this month is that it is the month of design here in Detroit, and you have the podcast, the Detroit City of Design podcast. Can you tell us a little bit about it?
Yeah, so my agency, we work with Design Core Detroit, which is a design advocacy group based in Detroit, obviously, and we've been working with them on this podcast, Detroit City of Design. This podcast is specifically about design inclusivity and what that looks like. Like, how can you use design to change the lives and impact the lives of people around you? So there are 10 episodes. We just wrapped our final episode, but you could go listen to it on all the different podcast platforms. But you have some major guests on the show. Olga Stella, the executive director of Design Core Detroit, she hosts the show, and she's talked to Tracy Reese, who is a major fashion designer. She was designing for Michelle Obama. She talked to a guy named Craig Wilkins, Ralph Giles. I mean, the list kind of goes on and on and on. It's a nice mix of local and international people working in design and talking about how design can change people's lives.
So Detroit City of Design podcast, people can find it wherever they find their favorite podcast. That's the catch-all phrase that you got to put in there. And we'll also post a link over on our website at thedebriefdetroit.com. Amani Olu, thanks so much for checking in with us, man. And congratulations on year number 2. That's really exciting that this is taking off.
Thank you.
Well done.
Thank you.
All right, we'll talk to you soon.
All right, talk to you later. Bye-bye.
Bye.
This is the D.
Detroit.
This is the D.
Brief.
All right, that's it. Day number 2. Not
Well
so
done.
hard. You can
Killing
be a
it.
podcaster,
Yeah,
right?
totally killing it. Yes.
It's just like Instagram, but with no pictures and a lot more talking.
Right.
Just like it otherwise, though.
Otherwise,
Not-
exactly the same. Look, a couple of things to let you know about. First of all, join our email list over at thedebriefdetroit.com. We are going to invite a handful of listeners out to come join us for a drink. We'd love to buy you a drink, and the way to get that invitation is to sign up for the email list.
And you can just text the word Detroit from your mobile phone to 444-999.
All right, Shanley, one last thing you got to do before we get out of here. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right, we are going to ask you for a series of rapid-fire recommendations. Just tell us the first thing that comes to mind.
You got it.
Starting with this, where is your favorite place in Detroit to go on a romantic date?
Belle Isle Sunset.
Ooh.
That is a good one.
Take a bottle of wine. Well,
Yeah.
am I allowed to say that?
Of course. Well,
I don't know if it's legal, but that's what we do. Very romantic.
yeah.
Amazing.
maybe some cheese and crackers.
Yeah.
and
We've
some
done that with the
chocolate.
whole picnic basket.
Oh, yeah.
The whole thing.
Cheap date, too.
Yes.
Sunset Point. Very nice. How about, do you have a favorite place for late night food? Open late, you're craving something.
Second best, hot dogs. Easy. Delicious. Gourmet dogs. What more can you want?
Classic.
So this is the bar owned by the guys that also own
Grey Ghost.
Ghost,
Yeah.
right? Yep. We had them on a while back. All right, I know you're all about the Instagram, so name a Detroiter that we should all follow on Instagram.
Oh, you know who I absolutely love? And she's not Detroit-centric, but the Travel Critic. She lives in Detroit, and she, like, travels all around, but she's all about, like, just like Lizzo, body positivity and getting in touch with, like, your spiritual side. And she's a really special lady. I like her a lot, Claudia.
Nice.
Yeah.
Do you have a place in town that's great to buy unique Detroit-made gifts?
Good Neighbor or City Bird. Good Neighbor is more, I mean, they have like Levi's, but they also have a bunch of like cool embroidered t-shirts with like Detroit. Also Simplified is amazing for that. And then City Bird is like more like put-outs, tchotchke, little like cute cards and stuff like that.
Nice glassware and things. Yeah.
So one's like to her clothing, and then I love Good Neighbor though. She's amazing too.
Awesome.
Do you have a favorite Detroit musical artist?
Shigeto.
I haven't seen them. I don't know anything about him.
He's great.
What is he? What is this? Hip hop? This is.
No, electronic.
It's like Detroit techno.
Yeah. Yeah, but he also plays the drums and keyboards and kind of has his unique
So
spin
is it
on
just him on stage, or has he got a?
No, he
Usually collabs with people.
Yeah. I mean, he has. He has definitely DJ'd places and things, but yeah.
So he's spinning on or
sometimes
performing electric,
making
yeah.
beats.
It's not
and
usually like spinning.
No.
He like
beat
moves
mixing
things.
and
Yeah.
he twiddles knobs.
Yeah,
Yes.
literally.
sometimes, and then he'll play live drums and have a track in the back and different things.
Yeah, that's what's cool. He like incorporates live music into the
With the-
recorded stuff.
Cool. You have a favorite Detroit festival to go to throughout the year?
Movement.
Yeah.
Best people watching out of any place,
Yeah, bar none.
anywhere in the entire world.
a lot of good outfit ideas.
Also, really good music and really good food. Last year they had really good food, so
true.
lots of local vendors.
What do you think is the best place in town for a business lunch to make a deal?
Business lunch. Selden's open for lunch. That would be a good place. Or if you want to go real old school, Honest John's.
Yeah, good one.
And they're always open.
True.
All right.
Very good.
You survived.
Yes, made it.
Thank you so much.
Great show.
Shanley Pearl of Hungry in Detroit. They should follow you on Instagram. Lots of great photos. Lots of great stuff going on there.
Easy to do.
Plus, they can find you at just about any food event anywhere.
I'll be there.
Yes.
Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thanks
It was
for
great to
having
have
me.
you. Until next time, Detroit's moving.
Keep up.
The Debrief.
Your guide to Detroit's arts and entertainment scene.
Okay, look, I'm sorry. I hate to interrupt the Debrief podcast, okay? I love it too. I'm a fan of it. I've been on the show. Hey everyone, my name is Tom McCarthy. I'm the host of Mark Ridley's Comedy Castle podcast. Among other things, I'm a local stand-up comic. I'm a nudist. I'm a bon vivant. I'm a real loudmouth. And I love to talk comedy. And I get to interview the biggest names in comedy every single Tuesday on the Mark Ridley's Comedy Castle podcast. Check it out on all available podcasting platforms. You can probably find it where you found this fine show. So enough of my yapping. Aren't Seth and Becky wonderful? Don't you love to debrief?
Hi, Craig Foley here. If you're listening to the Debrief podcast, well, I've got two things to say to you. One, you have impeccable taste. Two, you care about the community that is Metro Detroit. That's why I think you'd appreciate my daily show, The Craig Foley Show on Deadline Detroit. Every weekday, I tackle the big issues in politics, business, arts and culture, sports. Whatever's on the mind of Detroiters and Michiganders, we will talk about it. It's all open for discussion. And keep this in mind, news doesn't have to be boring. Sure, we talk about serious stories and we have interviews and commentary, but we do it in a way that, if I'm doing my job right, is informative but also entertaining. Check out The Craig Foley Show on Deadline Detroit for news, knowledge, hopefully some fun tossed in.
Hello, Debrief listeners. My name is Michael Dupree, host of the Michael Dupree Variety Hour, a Planet Ant Podcasts podcast. The Michael Dupree Variety Hour is an art showcase and comedy show where we feature local musicians, painters, poets, artists, sculptors, directors, writers, improvisers, and more. Stop by and discover your new favorite artist, meet some outrageous characters, and revel in ridiculous sketches. The Michael Dupree Variety Hour, the world's only mandatory podcast.
Planet Ant Theater, now doing podcasts. Check us out at planetantpodcasts.com.